that's the caldera of a volcano, like this Yellowstone thing. We thought it was just this crazy place with hot springs. Like, no, that's a super volcano that is a continent killer.
Yellowstone Park is a beautiful place where many tourists go. It has amazing views and things to do, like hiking. People have always thought it was a perfect vacation spot, but now scientists have found something horrifying underneath. Tucker Carlson was the first to raise concerns about a potential disaster. Deep within Yellowstone, there's a massive volcano. Scientists have discovered a big crack in the volcano, and it's much worse than they expected. The chances of the volcano waking up and causing a massive eruption have increased by 340%. This could lead to terrible destruction. It's crucial to listen to Carlson's warning and be prepared for this dangerous situation. To better understand the increasing danger, we explore two important areas in Yellowstone, the Norris Giza Basin and the Steamboat Geyser. The Norris Giza Basin is the park's hottest region, with hot springs that have been around for over 100,000 years. The temperature underground can reach a scorching 459 degrees Fahrenheit. Nearby, the Steamboat Geyser is famous for its tall waterspouts. In the past, this geyser has erupted irregularly, sometimes with gaps of up to 50 years. But since 2018, it's been erupting more frequently, sometimes even once a week. Could this increased activity be connected to the growing risk of a massive eruption? Let us dig deeper into this puzzle. The heightened activity of the Steamboat Geyser is just one part of the mystery. Unusual ground movements have been observed in the Norris Giza Basin for several decades. The ground has been shown to have a strange pattern, raising by 5 inches and then sinking by 3. This repeating cycle continued until 2014 when a significant earthquake disrupted the pattern. After the earthquake, the ground went through turbulent oscillations, eventually ending up slightly higher than before. Could this erratic behavior be the missing link into understanding the rapidly increasing risk of a supervolcano eruption? Certainly a possibility worth considering. A supervolcano is not your typical volcanic formation. It represents an immense threat to life on Earth. The eruption of a supervolcano would have been catastrophic, right? I mean, amongst the 20 known supervolcanoes across the globe, they rank as one of the most lethal natural forces. While the Yellowstone supervolcano has only erupted 3 times in the past 2.1 million years, the prospect of a 4th eruption remains a haunting possibility. The most recent eruption occurred approximately 640,000 years ago. Should a similar event transpire, scientists predict the release of poisonous gases, decimation of crops, and widespread power outages. To compound the disaster, an extended winter may ensue as a toxic cloud obscures the sun for years on end. Some experts argue that such an event would potentially be the worst calamity in human history. Consequently, the hope is that this dormant giant continues to be dormant, to sleep. Visible cracks have appeared in Grand Teton National Park nearby. These cracks were so significant that authorities closed off popular tourist spots like Inspiration Point and Hidden Falls to ensure people's safety. The cracks indicate that rockfalls may occur soon. According to the United States Geological Survey, Yellowstone, a powerful supervolcano in close proximity, erupted some time ago, leaving behind a massive depression and spewing out rocks, ash, volcanic dust, and the like. These cracks are not small. They form a large gap that is over 100 feet wide. The supervolcano is an extremely catastrophic natural disaster that has the potential to wipe out humanity and cause destruction on a scale similar to a massive asteroid impact or, well, nukes. However, it doesn't receive as much attention as other potential disasters. While we understand that accidents like plane crashes can't be eliminated entirely, we don't expect a single plane crash to wipe out 10% of the global population. Despite the much greater threat posed by supervolcanoes, aviation safety receives billions of dollars in funding, while efforts to mitigate volcanic disasters are neglected. Yellowstone National Park is home to one of these colossal and active volcanoes. Although the park has been protected since 1872, scientists have only started to understand the magnitude of its volcanic activity in the 1960s. And it wasn't until the 80s that they realized the potential for a devastating eruption. If Yellowstone were to erupt, it could be thousands of times more powerful than the famous 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption, burying the northern Rockies and potentially the entire United States under several feet of ash. Still, a big question on everyone's mind is, what are the odds that it will blow up? How massive could that be, and when might that happen? Even though the probability is low, such an event would have a severe global consequence. Predicting massive supervolcano eruptions is difficult because they're rare and they involve complex processes deep below the Earth's surface. However, a recent study has provided some insight into Yellowstone's underground nature. Scientists have discovered 2 huge magma chambers beneath the park's surface, separated by a solid layer of rock. The deeper chamber contains flowing lava from the Earth's mantle. When this molten lava cools and solidifies upon reaching the cooler crust, it forms a layer with its upper boundary approximately 6 miles below the surface. Above this layer is the upper magma chamber, filled with thick magma containing gas. similar to a shaken soda can that hadn't been opened yet. A study published in Geophysical Research Letters has revealed insights into the formation of Yellowstone's two-layered, chemically diverse structure over time. Geologists have developed sensors throughout the park to measure the speed at which seismic waves from minor earthquakes travel to the subsurface rock. These waves travel more slowly through hot and partially melted rock structures, enabling scientists to create an image of two magma chambers. It's crucial to note that supervolcano is not an official scientific term. The most accurate description for Yellowstone is a caldera, or caldera-forming volcano. Calderas are colossal craters resulting from volcanoes that devour mountains. Surprisingly, the central region of Yellowstone is devoid of mountains, thanks to the caldera-forming process. The park experienced its first major eruption approximately 2.1 million years ago, and the most recent eruption occurred around 630,000 years ago. Now, with a reported 320% increase in the risk of eruption, could we be inching closer to the fourth eruption? Determining the precise magnitude of magma buildup necessary to trigger that significant eruption remains challenging. Nonetheless, it's evident that we have to pay close attention to these dormant giants. While the Yellowstone system may appear to slumber quietly, it is far from dormant. Every now and then, beneath its serene exterior, small eruptions and lava flows occur. The most notable eruption transpired approximately 70,000 years ago, and Yellowstone may be on the cusp of another catastrophic event. Volcanoes, like ticking time bombs, don't adhere to some fixed schedule, rendering their unpredictability a genuine cause for concern. Moreover, Yellowstone is not the sole ticking time bomb within the U.S. Consider the Long Valley Caldera in California near the globally renowned Mammoth Mountain ski resort. This volcano last erupted approximately 700,000 years ago, and it lies just east of the Yosemite National Park. To provide a clearer picture, imagine your house equipped with a backyard brimming with dynamite. Although not all the dynamite may be detonated simultaneously, even a single explosion could result in a significant catastrophe. That's precisely how these volcanoes operate. While major eruptions are relatively rare events, even frequent minor eruptions can be disastrous and potentially fatal. Like dormant dragons, 7 active volcanoes in molten rock zones lie beneath California's San Andreas Fault, each possessing a likelihood of eruption equivalent to a magnitude of 6 or higher earthquakes. Still struggling to grasp the gravity of the situation, are you? Me too. So let's examine the horrific eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815. Vision waking up one day to a sky shrouded in volcanic ash, failing crops, unforgiving weather, culminating in a global drop in temperatures. This was the aftermath of that monumental eruption. The awe-inspiring geothermal features present in Yellowstone owe their existence to the churning magma beneath the park, an immensely potent yet perilous heat source. To fully comprehend the perils of a supervolcano, we gotta define the perils. A supervolcano is a volcano capable of ejecting more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material in a single eruption, ranking it 8 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, the highest number possible. Picture a super pressure cooker brimming to the edge where rising magma from the mantle becomes trapped in the crust, steadily accumulating pressure until it explosively bursts forth. This cataclysmic event can occur in locations such as Yellowstone's caldera or subduction zones like Toba. Super eruptions have the capacity to blanket vast areas with volcanic ash, akin to a suffocating, thick blanket capable of inducing mass extinctions and triggering mini ice ages. Visualize a world where the skies remain perpetually gray, the sun a mere dim light, and the earth gripped by freezing temperatures. It's probably terrifying to you, right? No? Well then, it's a good lie. Now let's delve deeper into the specifics of Yellowstone's calderas. These calderas form due to past volcanic activities, and they sit atop a hotspot beneath the Yellowstone Plateau. Picture 3 gargantuan craters formed by mega-eruptions millions of years ago. The Island Park Caldera, Henry's Fork Caldera, and the Yellowstone Caldera. Now, to put things into perspective here, the 1980s Mount St. Helens eruption expelled ash that could fill about 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. Now multiply that by 2,500. That is the amount of ash the Island Park Caldera super eruption 2.1 million years ago unleashed. Other significant eruptions have contributed to the formation of the Yellowstone Caldera and Lava Creek Tuff, as well as Henry's Fork Caldera, the only surviving caldera from the Yellowstone hotspot in the Snake River Plain. Imagine this scenario. A formidable volcano concealed beneath Yellowstone National Park awakens from its prolonged slumber, releasing ash into the sky that travels thousands of miles across the U.S. Now, this ash doesn't just taint the air. It causes buildings to crumble. It devastates farms. It cripples the power grid. The mere contemplation of such a disaster sends shivers down one's spine. However, before panic sets in, it's vital to acknowledge that the likelihood of such an event transpiring is very, very slim. Yet, despite its ominous potential, the Yellowstone supervolcano never fails to capture the imagination of those fascinated by end-of-world scenarios. It's a weird thing to be fascinated by. You weirdo? I'm just kidding, I love it too. In September 2014, a group of researchers published a captivating article in the journal Geochemistry, Geophysics, Geosystems, delving into the potential outcomes of a supervolcano eruption at Yellowstone. Among their alarming findings was the estimate that an eruption could blanket states like Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Colorado with 3 feet of deadly volcanic ash. Now that ash would wreak havoc on wildlife, causing buildings to crumble and disrupting various electrical devices. I live in Montana and I am quaking in my boots. Beneath Yellowstone National Park lies a colossal reservoir of scorching lava extending 5 miles deep of just lava. This molten rock pool derives its energy from a massive plume of lava surging up from hundreds of miles beneath the Earth's surface. The park's famous geysers and hot springs owe their heat to this intense geothermal activity. Although the surface above the lava reservoir may experience regular fluctuations as the molten rock moves into and out of the chamber itself has undergone numerous eruptions. The most significant eruption occurred around 70,000 years ago at Pitchstone Plateau. However, most of Yellowstone's eruptions have resulted in modest lava flows. Nonetheless, the low probability of a catastrophic super-eruption keeps Yellowstone in the spotlight. A super-eruption, thousands of times more powerful than typical volcanic eruptions and lasting for weeks or even months, would be akin to an apocalyptic event, or I guess just an apocalypse. Only about a third of the released material would enter the atmosphere, with the remainder forming lava flows within a radius of approximately 40 kilometers from the park's boundaries. This airborne debris, composed of shattered rock and glass known as volcanic ash, would be propelled into the sky and carried across the country, causing so much damage. According to recent research, the ash cloud resulting from a super-eruption would spread out like an umbrella in all directions. Scientists, relying on data from previous ash deposits and modern computer simulations, estimate that a super-eruption could bury the northern Rockies under 3 feet of ash, devastating large parts of Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Montana, and Utah. Depending on the time of year and prevailing weather conditions, several inches of ash could also reach the coastlines and the Midwest. The fallout from a major volcanic eruption presents numerous challenges. One of the most immediate issues is, as we've been talking about, the ash expelled into the atmosphere. Try and imagine your home or city coated in a layer of gray dust several inches thick. You can't? Well, that's because you would be dead, most likely. And that's not just ordinary dust, it's volcanic ash. And its presence can damage buildings, potentially leading to collapses. And it goes without saying, furthermore, inhaling volcanic ash can have consequences for humans, animals, and plants. It's not quite like oxygen. The fine particles can irritate the respiratory system, making it difficult to breathe and causing illnesses, especially to those, compromised with their respiratory system. Consider your pet's well-being and the wildlife you encounter in parks or farms. They too can be harmed or fall ill. Picture the plants in your garden or park turning gray and withering under the weight of that ash. The detrimental effects of volcanic ash extend beyond health concerns. That ash can wreak havoc on essential infrastructure, disrupting daily life. Imagine trying to flush a toilet or use a sink only to find the pipes clogged with ash. Electrical power generation can also suffer as the ash damages machinery, leading to widespread outages. Farms, heavily reliant on water and light, well, they wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be very good. Furthermore, the accumulation of ash on roads would impede travel, and that would cause traffic congestion due to slippery surfaces. Farms, I can handle all the food production in the world going, but more traffic? No, dog. The implications of a major volcanic eruption extend so far beyond the affected area that ash can rise high into the atmosphere, spreading across vast distances. Envision a scenario where so much of that ash fills the skies over North America that airplanes are rendered inoperable. People wouldn't be able to travel, and goods typically transported by air would remain grounded. A substantial volcanic eruption can have global repercussions, altering weather patterns worldwide. The ash contains unique chemicals that reflect sunlight back into space, resulting in reduced warmth reaching the Earth's surface. For example, the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines in 1991 caused a temporary drop in global temperatures by about 1 degree Celsius. Imagine enduring a winter a little bit colder than usual, all due to a volcano erupting somewhere else in the world. In some cases, the environmental changes caused by volcanic eruptions can persist for a very much extended period. When Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted in 1815, it ushered in a prolonged period of global cooling. This cooling trend significantly impacted agricultural productivity, which led to, naturally, food scarcity. Imagine visiting a supermarket with limited food supplies due to crops struggling to grow in excessively cold conditions and lightless conditions at that. That was the reality for many people at the time, and it resulted in widespread famine. It's important to note that the eruptions of Mount Pinatubo and Mount Tambora, while significant, just pale in comparison to what a supervolcano could unleash. A supervolcano represents an unprecedented threat, capable of causing far greater problems. One such supervolcano lies beneath Yellowstone National Park in the U.S. When this supervolcano last erupted, it triggered widespread chaos across the globe. Scientists are diligently working to determine when the next eruption might occur. They closely monitor ground movements, observing how land rises and falls. Between 2004 and 2009, it's believed that approximately land rose by 25 centimeters, roughly the length of a standard ruler. However, in 2010, the land began to sink again. And that fluctuation resembles a slow, steady heartbeat, or a breath, and scientists are wondering if it signifies an impending eruption. The precise outcomes of such an eruption remain uncertain, but experts predict that it would be catastrophic, surely. The volcano at Yellowstone has experienced the most rapid rate of uplift ever recorded in the last decade, substantially heightening the likelihood of an explosive eruption. This alarming development warrants significant attention. Moreover, Yellowstone experiences between 1,000 and 3,000 earthquakes a year. Most minor and most imperceptible. But that's still a lot of quaking. Boy, that ash be quaking, sorry. Alright, however, these tremors provide crucial clues about the expansion rate of the magma chamber beneath the park. In the past, every time the mighty Yellowstone volcano erupted, it left a large hole, or a caldera, consuming the nearby forests and mountains. If it were to erupt today, the dangers would be just as massive. The Yellowstone caldera, part of the larger Lava Creek Tuff, is enormous. It's about 31 miles long and 43.5 miles wide. It still bears traces from the last time it exploded, with volcanic leftovers visible even today. Scientists are constantly monitoring Yellowstone, trying to predict what's going to happen. Even though it's been very quiet for a very long time, the energy that's been building beneath the park for thousands of years could suddenly be unleashed. The big unknowns are when, how bad, and are we ready? Keep in mind, this massive volcano is unpredictable. It's a sleeping giant that could wake up at any time, could bring significant changes to our lives at any time. We gotta be ready. We gotta have plans in case that does happen. Which is why scientists are tirelessly watching, striving to answer these questions before it's too late. Their work is crucial. It helps us to better understand this amazing but potentially harmful natural wonder. By increasing our knowledge, we can hopefully stay safe if the Yellowstone supervolcano ever decides to wake up from its, beauty nap. We think you're beautiful, Yellowstone. Don't wake up. As such, the mystery persists, and our readiness to confront whatever lies ahead continues. It's the tale of nature's might and human resilience. Tucker Carlson is fully aware that our government is not prepared for the upcoming disaster. What this means is that the government doesn't have the resources or the plans in place to protect us when disaster strikes. There aren't enough workers in the right areas who could help keep us safe. The government also spends a lot of money on things, according to Carlson, most people don't really care about. Now, these might be projects or programs that aren't actually directly helping the people who, need it. This leaves less money for things like disaster preparation, which can make our government weaker in the face of a crisis. This lack of preparedness, as Carlson sees it, is what he's trying to warn us about. He wants us to know what's coming so we can prepare ourselves. But he's not just talking about natural disasters like hurricanes or earthquakes. He's talking about a political disaster. Now, a political catastrophe could mean a lot of things. Maybe it's a situation where our leaders can't agree on what to do, or where people feel like their voices aren't being heard. It could also mean a time when the government isn't doing enough to help people. No matter what, we need to be ready for different kinds of crises, a political one that will explode just like the supervolcano. So what do you think about an alarming 320% rise in the chance of a sudden volcanic eruption at Yellowstone? I live in Montana, man. Like I said, that would just be weird. I'm alive right now, and then in 1 minute, what if I just hear a poof, and then it's just not there anymore? That would be weird, man. Anyways, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to show your support, subscribe, and stay tuned for more interesting content. Quick, subscribe before we all blow up and die. Ah.